we're back on the couch to discuss Dark Souls, a series that we keep trying to get into, but just it's unsuccessful.
It's too hard.
Maybe, yeah, we can't do it. It's too hard.
The controls are bad.
The controls are bad.
The graphics are bad.
Like, what are the skeletons?
Their lips don't move when they talk.
Kill you. The lips don't move when they talk.
Yeah, I can't believe the lips don't move.
So unfortunately, we have to talk about this terrible series.
Crappy series.
The latest DLC coming out for it. I feel really lucky I got to play it at a Bandai Namco event called the Ring City, and I love how I can present this because I feel like it's a story. And I got to play anywhere, I think it was either 20 or 30 minutes, somewhere around there of time. And so there are a lot of very relevant nitty-gritty details that I didn't get to see just because I could not freely explore everywhere in it. But what you do in the Ring City, or at least where my demo started, is the guy that was attending the station just said one thing to me. Keep going down. And you walk forward, and you're like amidst these like crumbling like castle ruins. You walk forward, and there's an item at the end, and you go to the item, and before you can pick it up, it just crumbles, and you fall so far that normally it would be a death in Dark Souls, but not here. You are totally fine. And you go forward, and there's like this giant executioner figure that you have to avoid. And then you just, once you get past that, you keep going down, there's like this giant twisting branch. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to go down here. I didn't see the first time. I died twice during this 30 minutes. I didn't see in the distance that there's like this hollow demonic angel thing. You can see it if you watch in the trailer. It's in the trailer. That's just kind of floating there, and it will shoot really, really rapidly these beams of light, and you'll just, if they catch you,
sounds like my nightmare.
Yeah, you can just get caught in it and just die very, very quickly. They do a ton of damage. And so it's not just in this one section. It kind of followed me throughout the entire demo.
Wow.
And so,
Wait, the figure followed you?
well, I didn't actually see it move, but it was either
just
the
appear in
same
different
one
places?
or different ones that
Okay.
were in different places. And so kind of when you first encounter it, you can very quickly kind of go into this church area. And there were these two giant knights in the back. I'm like, okay, I'm going to avoid those. And I go through, and I'm walking along, and I'm like, oh, there's nothing here. There's nothing in this room. I run by, and I go to pick up they troll you with items in this DLC. I go to pick up an item, and like this hand comes out of the ground. And there are these creatures that like are really tough to see, especially if you're not paying close attention, but will form out of the ground and surprise you if you happen to run into them. And all of this is happening very, very quickly. And something that I want to say about the Ring City is not once in my time demoing it did I feel any sort of reprieve whatsoever, which I know is a fairly common thing for Dark Souls, but in an even more intense level, because the next area was just insane. So I go down this like twisted branch, and I'm in classic Dark Souls fashion, this poisonous swamp area. So where you're running around and in, you'll get poisoned. And there are these like wooden, half-destroyed buildings kind of littered throughout. And I'm like, oh, what are these for? Well, the angel thing is back, shooting
This
beams.
is seriously my nightmare. I need to stop you. Poison swamp and something shooting beams of light from a mile away.
Yeah.
I'm not excited right now.
And I tried to like shoot. I tried to shoot spells at it, but it seemed really ineffective because you're getting attacked quickly enough that it's really hard to fight it. And so you're running through this poisonous swamp, getting assaulted, and then there are other smaller enemies as well. And so you're just trying to survive.
Oh my goodness.
And that's they're the the Dark Souls 2 enemies that are in the, what is the name of that place where all the poison is?
Oh, dude. I forgot what it's called now.
I've forgotten most of 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like those mushroom-looking dudes that don't move very quickly?
Yeah.
So those guys were there as well, fitting the poison themed. And I guess
Were
that's...
they the exact same things from 2? Or do they look similar?
No,
Not the ones from 3, in that forest area. The little red toadstool cat?
No.
Okay.
Thinking of the ones from 2. I don't know for sure if they were exactly the same, but they looked incredibly similar. Okay. That was kind of the areas that I went to in the Ring City, and it was I thought Ashes of Ariandel was stressful. I would say this was, and maybe it was just because I was using a pre-milled character that I wasn't comfortable with, and playing it in this demo situation. There are a lot of factors at play here, but it definitely felt harder and more intense than the first DLC. It also felt more expansive more immediately, and I'm also just really in love with the idea of this continual descent downward and figuring out what's at the bottom and what you're going to fight.
Did you get any inklings that because the previous DLC seemed to set up an ongoing narrative that would be picked up maybe in the next DLC? Was that the impression you got, or no?
So, as far as narrative goes, I got almost nothing. I didn't get any items that had any lore consequence. I didn't have any characters speak to me whatsoever. Okay. It was just, from minute 1 to minute 30, an assault.
Okay.
That's all it was. I wish I could have gotten some inkling of the lore and what's going on, and maybe there was just an area I missed or something, tucked away somewhere. Probably. There's somebody saying, here's exactly what this DLC is about. But I didn't find anything.
Did Miyazaki direct the first part, and is he directing this part, or is it just the Dark Souls team? I know DLC production is sometimes different.
Right. What exactly Miyazaki is working on, but I don't. As far as the first DLC goes, I don't know. Brad, do you know if he directed?
I don't. Knowing him, he's probably working on everything. He is involved probably in everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited for this because it's the finale.
It's
it's supposed to be, right?
Do you think there are only 2 for this one, right?
Do you think we're gonna get another Dark Souls within the next 5 years after this DLC hits? Is there gonna be a 4? Are they just gonna keep it going? The way I'm going into this is almost like this is the swan song. This is it.
Right.
This is the swan song for Miyazaki's Dark Souls.
Yeah.
At least
they're
for a
gonna
while.
jump up to Civil War Souls.
Yeah.
And the way that they've talked about this DLC, the language that they've used, they've kind of said in so many words. The first one was a warm up. This is the real deal, and that alone is really exciting because I really enjoyed the first DLC, and I know you all really enjoyed the first DLC.
Loved it.
The other thing that I think is cool, obviously poisonous swamp areas have been used to death in Dark Souls, but we're almost at 2 DLCs for Dark Souls 3. We had a DLC for Bloodborne, then Bloodborne itself. We had 3 DLCs for Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 2, 1 DLC for Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 1. And Demon's Souls before that. We've been with these games.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of games in, the 6-7 years that they've been around. And man, just playing the Ring City, I didn't think, I've been here, done that. It felt new, it felt exciting, it felt dangerous.
Right.
And that's awesome.
That was the question I had, is how similar to Ulasil does it feel? Because when I was seeing the trailer, I was like, oh, another city. That's going to be kind of like Ulasil, the first part where all the crazy guys are,
Yeah.
Or Bloodborne, maybe.
Knowing them, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Because Ulasil is just one chunk, of the DLC.
Yeah. Right.
Knowing this, I'm sure it'll be a lot more stuff than we expect.
Yeah.
The vibe that I got most readily is the second DLC from Dark Souls 2, kind of that Iron Keep area, and the Wall of Lothric in Dark Souls 3. Kind of maybe more of that actually than the second DLC of Dark Souls 2.
Ben, talk to me about new weapons and spells.
Didn't see any new weapons.
What?
Didn't see any new spells. Obviously, they're there.
In there.
It's just that wasn't in, or if it was in the demo that I played, I didn't.
And you didn't see any NPCs either?
I didn't see any NPCs.
I wonder if they took out the NPCs,
Well, I think you played a half-hour chunk of what's probably like a 6-8 hour.
Right, and you have to keep in mind, I died a couple of times, and so that limited the amount that I did see.
Right.
And so, I wouldn't necessarily see that as a cause for concern, just a vertical slice.
No, I know, of course not.
But you're just disappointed that I can be like, yo, check out this new weapon. Yeah. I'm disappointed too.
Well,
usually with these demos, it's that they set up that I've played of Souls games before. It's you maybe can get to a boss, but 99% of people aren't going to make it to the boss.
And I watched 2 other people play it, and they pretty much had a nearly... I actually got not much, just a tiny little bit farther, and they didn't see anything that I didn't see, and I didn't see any new weapons or anything like that, or magic. So, fortunately, nothing to report on.
I'm big on this, finale feeling. Did you get that vibe from playing it? Is there a final feeling?
Yeah, that feeling. It's a vague thing to describe, but yes, there was finality present, just because kind of like there was in Dark Souls 3, this sense of decay, this sense of destruction, that's very much present in here. Everything around you in this DLC, or at least that I saw, is completely in ruins.
Yeah.
And you just keep going down and down and down, maybe potentially to find some deep, dark, terrible secret. Yes. If this is the end and they're really going to treat it as such, the vibes that were there support that completely. Sweet. It's not like you're in this, like, whimsical forest or something. Not that you necessarily would be, but
you're in Mount Doom.
Yeah,
you're going down.
You're kind of in Mount Doom. Yeah, exactly.
They didn't say anything about when you access this DLC or anything like that, because I know they've shown like the dark sign in the sky, and that's like you have to be Prince Lothic for that.
They did not say how you access it. The next game that I want to talk about is called, and I think you guys have seen a trailer for it, but you may not remember it. But it really left a great impression. We're talking heavy hitters with this Bandai Namco stuff. We're talking Dark Souls 3 DLC, we're talking Ni no Kuni 2, but this one was right up with there in terms of, like, I really want to play this immediately, called Little Nightmares. Yeah.
Is this a new IP? This game looks crazy.
And I think you're all going to be into it. I immediately thought of Ian because of how much it feels like Inside and the horror aspect. It is a really creepy game, so it takes sort of this claymation style.
Whoa.
And you play as this tiny little girl in a yellow rain jacket, and you're going through this world, and everything is much, much, much bigger than you are. So you'll have like a kitchen dining chair, like a wooden normal dining chair, and it's towering above you, and you have to like clamber up it. And everything is, or at least in the demo that I played, everything is dark all the time, and you have this lighter that you have to keep lit, and if you don't, she'll get stressed out, she'll get freaked out, and the world will start to blur. So it seemed dangerous. It seemed like if you don't keep this lit, something bad will happen to you.
Like amnesia or something.
Right. And pretty much in every area you're in, you're either running away from something or solving a puzzle or a combination of both. And so it's very much like an Inside or a Limbo, where it's a lot of, all right, you need to drag this object from this location to the next location. You need to pick this up over here. Like there's this library, and you clamber up the shelves, and as you're climbing up the shelves, these books are falling down. And then there's like a hanging piano in between two shelves, and you need to jump onto another shelf, and then you get a crank where you can lower the piano, which will get you to another area. That sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But the enemy design, this is really what I want to drive home, and how they use sound. So these enemies are just these absolutely grotesque, almost like, or what I saw, like old men, like their skin is just like stretched over their bodies, and like their arms are just unnaturally long, kind of RE7 vibes, if you know what I'm talking about. And they don't have legs, and so they just use their arms to like claw and move and like drag their torso around.
Jeez. And
they're much, much bigger than you are. And there's a bunch, like, because, like Inside and Limbo, there are a bunch of physics going on, and so when you are running away through an environment, this enemy will chase you, and like he's crashing through the walls or knocking stuff off the shelves, and it's terrifying because you don't have a weapon, you don't have a way to fight back. Mm-hmm. You just have to outthink and outmaneuver the threat. And so, yeah,
sounds great.
It is really great. It's coming out in April. I think it's $20.
Nice.
And yeah, the demo that I played left such an impression that it's like, all right, I want to play this.
Cool.
I want to play this immediately.
Little creatures?
Little Nightmares is what it's called.
Are they publishing it, or are they involved in the development of it?
They're publishing it.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the studio that is working on it. But yeah, it's actually a game that we saw a trailer for at GT, and I think you saw, Huber, and like, this looks incredible. Mm-hmm. And we hadn't heard about it for a long time. It's that game, and I do recommend that everybody go and watch a trailer of it just to see how striking the art style is.
They put a trailer out a long time ago.
Yeah. The last game is Impact Winter. And Huber, I know there's a game that you really like called Don't Starve.
Love Don't Starve.
So,
love it.
What if I give you a Don't Starve that actually has a story and has develeled characters?
Impossible.
That's how I was pitched.
What say you?
Yeah, isn't that like everything you want?
What demon heresy is this?
So you play as a character named Jacob Sullivan. Oh no, it's not Sullivan. Solomon, and there's this devastating asteroid collision. Like this asteroid crashes into Earth, and you're in this frigid winter, and you're in this shelter, and you need to survive for 30 days until help can arrive and kind of excavate you from this place. And you are leading this team of people, all trying to be survivors, and they all have different skills. So somebody's good at cooking, somebody's good at inventing things, somebody's good at, security, so on and so forth. And what you have to do is you have to venture forth out into this frigid winter, going in caves, rummaging through scrap and all that stuff, and bring things back and try to salvage them while not freezing to death, while not starving to death, while not getting eaten alive by wolves. And what's interesting about it beyond a typical Survivor game thing is you only have a limited amount of rations, and you need to decide, like, who am I going to feed today? And these are people that you've talked to, that you've had conversations with, that have personalities. And you might have to, you can look at it from the perspective of which of these people do I like more, or which of these skills do I value? Do I value the cook the most? Do I value the inventor the most?
Sounds like Black Sails.
And that sort of thing. But you have so much freedom in how you progress. Kind of the one thing is just, you got to make it for 30 days. And you can also develop each of these characters. So, like, you can make the cook better at cooking things that provide more sustenance, so you don't have to cook as many things. That sort of stuff.
So if you keep the cook alive, you can keep more people alive, essentially, because he's helping feed.
I think we found the meta already.
Yeah, keep that cook alive.
Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe I didn't get to see the end of these skill trees or how they all played out. I just got to see sort of the level 1 stuff.
Yeah, but is there a way to go out and scavenge for supplies and food? Is that a big part of it?
Definitely.
Or is it just kind of hunkering down and...
No, you go out and you will find water, you'll find food, but in the demo that I played, that stuff was extremely rare. Almost everything I found, or at least the vast majority of it, was just trash. Mm-hmm. And you can use some of that trash, but it's one of those things. Imagine finding diamonds in Minecraft, where when you find food, you're like, oh god, it's been an hour, I haven't found anything. Here's some food, and it's that's kind of exciting.
Do you think that the end goal of this is? Do you think you can do a no deaths playthrough, where all the characters make it, or is it just get James Solomon
Yeah,
out alive? Is everyone else? Is it like Donner Party where he's gonna eat them all and then live by himself, or do you try to make everybody live? Is it XCOM?
Oh, my guess is that you can definitely
survive.
Survive. Yeah, but in XCOM, Enemy Unknown, or many other similar games, that first playthrough, the loss comes and it's hard. That's my interpretation, anyway. You have to survive 30 days. You're broadcasting a signal, basically, but you can create things that boost that signal, and you can actually reduce the amount of time it takes to get out of the situation.
So save the cook, max your boost.
Yeah,
and you're out of there.
Confirmed.
Hunker down.
Meta confirmed.
The only thing I want to say as we're describing these things is there are so many systems in this game, and so what we're saying, I'm not exactly sure how it all interconnects. I need to sit down with it, spend several hours with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it may not all end up being like this in the final game, but yeah, that's the general impression I got of Impact Winter. But it seemed cool.
I imagine Huber is the security chief guy, and he just he comes stumbling, 6 people have died, and he comes stumbling into the cook shack where everyone else that's alive is hanging out, and he just goes, "We gotta boost the signal, we gotta boost the signal,
we're all gonna die,"
and then he just falls over.
See, I envision Huber as the security guy coming up to you and saying, "Don't feed me, I'll take care of it." And then he's like, "I'm gonna go hunt a bear."
Yeah.
And then
befriends the bear.
90 minutes later, you just get a dialogue box that pops up. Huber eaten by bear.
Huber is dead.
Ben, I have one question.
Yeah.
How is the vibe of this game? Don't Starve is it's a dire game, but it's pretty jolly, especially with the art style and everything like that. That helps.
Yeah.
How does this one feel?
like
much more bleak? Is it like more realistic looking?
No, it's got more of a it's not very bleak. It's kind of got a softer, more cartoony style to it, which I don't know if when your people are suffering that actually makes it all the much worse. But no, it is not. It's not incredibly bleak.
Okay.
Is it straightforward, or is it going to go for that Don't Starve, spelunky, weird twists and turns and secrets?
Yeah.
It sounds more grounded.
Like when Cthulhu shows up after 30 days, it's like, I got your signal!
So you bring up a really good point, and something that I actually comment on is when you play Don't Starve, you don't know how to do anything, and a big part of the game is figuring out what each thing does, how to build them. Impact Winter to me definitely seemed a lot more guided. Like you have a very explicit tutorial, like this is what this thing is, this is how you read this, and it seemed a lot more structured in that sense. And the main task that I had to do in the demo is I had to go get some parts for this inventor so she could build this thing. And I had a checklist, like, you need this, you need that. So they're like
quests?
Yeah, so it's more of a quest type of system. And so, you know, well, it's definitely survival like Don't Starve. The impression that I got is that it is more structured.
So it's more like an XCOM, kind of, where it's like a story, you can play it over and over, but it's got more guided narrative, like single playthrough kind of focus, do you think? Or is it like a Don't Starve where you play it over and over again?
Well, I mean, depending on what happens to your crew members, you know, they're like, if something goes bad, you may not be tasked with that thing, right? And so, how all that stuff plays out, I didn't get to see. You know, nothing terrible happened to my crew members in the short time that I played it.
We get it, Ben. You're the best at Dark Souls, and you keep people alive.
I think Brad is the best at Dark Souls.
That's true, Brad.
I bet Huber is probably the best at Don't Starve.
I love Don't Starve. Yeah. I don't know. Jones and Amanda played a bunch.
Did they?
Co-op.
But yeah.
If we teamed up, though.
Yeah, we'll take them.
Game over.
My last question for you is, you know, there's a flood of survival games. Does Impact Winter sound interesting enough that you're curious about it?
Absolutely, because I'm sick of waiting for the Forest to finally release.
It's been years. Sure.
It's like 3 years of early access, I think. 4, yeah. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if this had a multiplayer component, where it was like Dead of Winter or something, and you and your friends had to, like, you know, the 4 of us are playing it, and it's like, I'm not going to feed Huber.
Well, yeah, Don't Starve Co-op came out way later, so
Don't Starve together.
Cool if
is it co-op or anything? Like,
no,
just single player. Okay.
Yeah, as far as I understand it, it's just single player.
Cool.
And I think the reason for that is you know, you are playing as somebody that has. You know, a history. These characters that you're interacting with, that those relationships are a huge crux of the game.
Cool,
based on my understanding. So, yeah. Well, that's gonna do it for the second round of Bandai Namco stuff. Thank you so much, panel. I'm sorry the Force isn't fully out here.
Yeah, when's that release date? What's going on?
Never.
I don't know.
It's an early access limbo forever.
Banded
probably.
wire.
I feel like 5 years ago, there was a lot of stuff coming out still, but I feel like I was able to kind of like be like, all right, this is coming out here, this is coming out here. Now there's so much.
I don't even know. I don't know. I asked you, I was like, when's Neo coming out?
Yeah.
When's Dark Souls DLC coming out? I don't know when anything's coming out. I'm just trying to survive day by day.
You'll be knee deep in Neo.
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
Jeez.
All right. Thanks, guys.